Good morning. All right, who here has flown on airBaltic? All righty, who here has a Planies NFT? Oh, look at that, yeah, me too. Okay, very good. So welcome, Mr. Planies, airBaltic's Web3 lead, Arturs Garais. So you are not Martin, and that's wonderful because we get to have a great chat together. So you're actually the guy who's doing all the Web3 at airBaltic. So I think our conversation is the subject matter of it is fascinating for this space. There's a lot of stuff today on rewards and loyalty. So this is going to be fun to start the day with because this is one of the best examples of a rewards program based on NFTs that actually works. So we'll get into some of the how that works and all those kind of things. My name is Ethan Pierce. Borderless Ventures is my main activity. It's investment into Web3, AI, creator economy type startups. Live in Paris. Borderless is actually based here in Tallinn. I'm also the co-founder of the NFT Factory, which is France's kind of headquarters for the Web3 ecosystem, founded by Ledger, SoRare, Sandbox, Ariani, and 125 of us, I guess 125 of us that built this thing. If you're ever in Paris, it's the big green thing. If you've ever been there, it's an art gallery. So all kinds of ways that this ties in this discussion of how do we play with all these things in the real world and not just our monkey JPEGs, all of our lovely crypto conversations and these things. How does this stuff actually matter? So I'll maybe let you just kind of dive in to kind of present who you are, and then we can, before we get to Planies, because it's actually really interesting, airBaltic is pretty much, well, I think they're the earliest airline to play with crypto payments and then get into Web3 loyalty, and they're really still the leader in that. There's other programs that have popped up, and that's a great thing. But there's a lot of metrics we can talk about how this is working well. But let's start just with what you do, and we can maybe take that history of how airBaltic got into this.
Yeah. So essentially, as you mentioned, my name is Arturs, and I'm behind the Planies, and I'm not the only one. So I have a team now of 3 people, and then there's everyone else in airBaltic helping us to pull this off. But essentially, we are trying to create the world's, I would say, the best NFT loyalty program for aviation, and a program that you can actually gain benefits, and a program that you could also transfer to your friends, family, or if you don't like it anymore, you could just sell that to someone else in secondary market, which is really, really cool. Because if we look at the loyalties, because I was living in UK for 8 years, and once I moved back to Latvia, because I'm native Latvian and working now in airBaltic, I've lost all of my loyalty cards that I had in UK. So I think there's a really great room to grow if we create loyalty cards that is transferable. Of course, we need to find a really great way in business-wise to use that, actually. But overall, for customer side, we can see it even today that the program, people are transferring stuff, and people really like to do that. But the Planies are kind of not the only thing, because as Ethan already mentioned, we've accepted already for 10 years. So now in 2024, it's 10 years since we're accepting cryptocurrency payments, which is, I think we need to throw a little party for that, especially because even in 2014, people even didn't know what's crypto. Majority of the people today even doesn't know what's crypto. And yes, of course, the demand for these kind of solutions currently, if we look at it today, we only see it increase. But I really believe that in future, if everything in regulation and us, the builders who's building cool stuff, I really believe that all of these solutions could be very grateful for both of the sides, customers and companies.
So now we have Etihad, we have Lufthansa that are both have interesting programs, different versions of how they want to do it in different things. But so I've got 2 Planies, and every morning I can wake up and look at my airBaltics account, and I've got 40 more XP, and I didn't take a flight. And so I've had those for a year and a half, or I guess a little bit more than a year now, and they're just sitting there making me XP that I can use for things, and I think that's pretty cool. Maybe we can talk about how that program works. And you mentioned a little bit, but maybe just in the details, because I think you've built some really interesting layers there. Don't hesitate to go back to behind us here. There is the exhibits, maybe downstairs, I guess. And so they've got a little stand, but they also have they made a plane that you can sit in and take a selfie with. So I think you should go see. I want to see lots of Instagram and Twitter selfies later today with the plane. But let's, if you get one of these NFTs, how does it work, and what do you get?
Yeah, so it's going to be 2 years actually in 24th of October since we launched it, and it's like a working product. But essentially, there are some key benefits that is available already now, which is if you purchase a Planie, you have two options: purchase it with a crypto wallet or use a credit card. And we can see that credit card purchases, even though yes, it's like a Web3 product, that's a very big thing for our Web2 customers because our base is Web2 clients. And essentially, if you purchase one, you can earn 20 miles a day without flying, as you mentioned, which is a very nice thing. But then also, if you fly like 10 times with it together, you can get a business class upgrade voucher. And what is really cool about these business class upgrade vouchers is that you can share it with your friends and family. And we've been seeing people who's just sharing them around because probably in all of our circles we have that one person who's just living in in sky, as I say, just flying all the time, and then that person gets all of the benefits. But now you have an opportunity. If you are that person, you can share them with your friends or family or anyone else. And of course, there's other benefits also coming in that we are building. And in our exhibition booth, you'll see our roadmap. There's some of the very interesting things, and I'll just highlight a few so people understand what we're looking at. So one of the coolest ones I really believe is the ones with the community, because in 17th of May, we're going to open our company's doors for our holders, and they're going to have a very unique experience, full day, together with airBaltic at our headquarters, getting into the hangar, maintenance hangar, seeing how the planes are being fixed, learning a little bit more how the things happening behind.
Really looking forward to jumping on the toboggan and getting out of the plane and like that the safety training thing.
Yes, that's
on my
going to be
list.
also a thing in the pilot academy. So I really think it's going to create different kind of relationships between the company and their loyal members, which is a key because sometimes, even in real life, sometimes we really forget the people who's the closest to us, and the same things happens in loyalty. So we could improve some of the things. Hopefully, this is going to be a very big success. So in the future, we can bring even more people in so they could find out how the things are looking and where we're heading. But then the other thing, probably the biggest thing in my personal view, in my mind, is a thing called Planies levels. So we want to bring Planies into even, let's say, further world where you could actually be the ones who's training them and unlocking even cooler things than we have today, which is a gamification of loyalty. And I really believe Pokemon Princip is not for gotten in my mind. So I think Planies could really work a big part if we bring it that way, where you're flying together with him and you're the ones who's leveling them and locking everything that you want. Yeah.
That's cool. So if you are interested in that, so one of the things I love that you did as well is that you didn't push these out as NFTs that just every degen should have one of these little planes. That you wanted it actually to be more of a slow mint. And so there's like 1,000 of them left. And the point of it is you want people to actually own them who are going to use them, not own them just to have them in a wallet and they sit there and not being done. But one of the really fun ones is that when we talked about this last year, you had launched this idea that if you buy 25 of the NFTs, you're instantly VIP. So you're basically buying yourself into having all the access of all those kind of things. Now, how many people have done that now?
There's a little bit more than 100 now who actually bought it. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I think that's a pretty cool thing that you can. But what's fascinating in that as well is you still have a tradable asset. Like if you decide you don't want to be VIP anymore because you leave the region or whatever, you can move out of that. So I think those are really interesting because if we look at my keynote a little bit later, and I'll show some of the other programs that are doing rewards and loyalty. There's a couple really interesting discussions today around rewards and loyalty. And some of those programs have not worked. Some of them had a good beta like Starbucks, but have now stopped. There's different versions of it. This is something that actually works. And it creates revenue for the company. It creates a really interesting community thing. Again, how many people here have a Planies? A bunch of you, right? Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I think that's a really interesting, you were telling me as well that it's really spread all over Europe. That, in offering this real life experience in Riga, one of the questions was, will people come? Because a lot of your Planies holders don't actually live in Riga. And I think that's great, like in terms of it's not just a local thing. So I think that there's a lot of this that goes to show as a wonderful use case of how rewards and loyalty programs can be very specific to a brand and what they do and work. The utility doesn't have to be absolutely crazy or financially, but it's something useful. And the fact that you're gaining these XP that you can use, for people who live in Riga or Helsinki or Estonia or in Tallinn and have to do that flight once or twice a week, those 10 flight business upgrades come pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a really interesting way to show that a program can very much be a reward and loyalty program. It does have real rewards that matter, and it does create tremendous traction and proximity with your customers who are now fans.
I'll also add on top of that, there's another very key thing in there, sustainability. And I really believe we're kind of lacking behind overall in Web3 space with sustainability, because we see thousands of coin drops all the time, or NFT collections, and they just drop it. But if you ask them, okay, what's going to happen in 2 years, it's going to probably run out of money, because you can't just make profits from selling NFTs. Yes, you can maybe in first year, then you launch another collection, then another one. Sooner or later, what you going to do? So the company needs to find ways how you could generate extra revenue. And for us, luckily enough, now we have the data. We can already see is that the Planies holders that we have currently are flying 3 times more than they were before. So we're generating extra revenue, and that is what brings the program to next stages. Because yes, we can have a PR campaign and marketing campaign. Hey, we have a cool collection, but at the end of the day, we still need to make it sustainable so it pays for itself, and we can even improve it.
Did we have a slide for that or not? I know because we talked about having the pictures, but did we get is there a slide for that or not? Yay? No? It's okay then. Because one of the things I wanted to show you was not just the Planies, but now what I also love is that we talked about crypto payments, you have the NFT rewards and loyalty, you're looking at new ways to make that in the future, but you're also just really trying to figure out and adopting, new things that are in the space. So when you're on the plane and you pull out the in-flight magazine and you look and you go, oh, that's a really pretty cover, that's pretty cool, that's some cool art. Well, it's actually Midjourney. The cover of the in-flight magazine is now Gen AI art. That's pretty cool. What's that?
Well, it's not only the AI part, it's also an NFT. So yes, it's a really cool idea that the marketing team has come up with, and we're now doing for every single month, we have different kind of artists from the chosen destination, and we're recreating the art and also creating it as an NFT. These NFTs, you can't purchase them, but you can go into OpenSea or whatever the market you use and check them. But we'll see where it's going to lead in the future. So we have a lot of these kind of things that we've tried, because last year, I don't know if any one of you are in sports so deeply as Latvians for ice hockey, but we actually also launched a thankful present for the Latvian hockey team and people who were on this plane when they came back from Finland, because we won the 3rd place in World Ice Hockey Championship. And we have an NFT for that also. And we actually launched the NFTs, we gave them out for the people. We also created the physical picture of it also and sent it to the holders who has it. So, because for us, it's a very big part of history, because we love hockey, but we wasn't always so good, but now we had a chance to do that.
And that's what I think is interesting is when we love to talk about our beloved subjects in Web3 with our NFTs and then our DAOs and all the art side of it, but then all of the, and then in crypto with DeFi and all these things that we love, that we have our words for and that we're all into. But the reality is, for this stuff to work, it has to be for everyone else. It's not about the 10 or 20 million of us that actually play with this stuff regularly. There's 8 billion people in the world. And so the whole point of Web3 is really that we can solve real problems with these technologies and eventually stop using the words, because nobody actually gives a crap about whether or not it's an NFT or whatever it is. So I think that that's really interesting when I see a corporate that plays with new technology, because that's actually pretty rare to have that willingness to live. Well, let's try it, and maybe it won't work, and maybe it'll, or maybe it'll be something that creates again this loyalty with our customer base, that they become fans of the brand, that they feel closer to the brand, and that's really important in this Web3 kind of marketing mix, but just marketing in general. That how do you create a relationship and with your customers, and how do you get them to feel more involved, closer to the brand, which obviously creates more revenue because they come back and use you. But it's It's that idea of we all love to feel closer to the brands that we appreciate. Why do people line up for blocks and blocks and blocks every time there's a new Apple product or whatever, other kind of things that you like? And people feel an affinity for the brands that they really love. So I think this is great to see these examples of what you have built, and I think it really is I'm obviously a fanboy of what they've built, but I think it's because I also study a lot of these rewards and loyalty programs, and it's a part of what I do, and we're at the beginning of this, so obviously most of these things are experiments, and many of them will fail, and this is one that hasn't. This is one that has learned interesting lessons that actually do make sense, create revenue, create that loyalty, so that's super cool. Let's see here. So maybe then on the side of aviation, where is this going with the other ideas that are out there? What are other things that you see maybe with Web3 and where aviation is going kind of happening? Because obviously you guys are kind of the early leaders in this, but now we see a very different program with Lufthansa that they've created, and we're going to see others. What are your thoughts about where this could go?
Well, firstly, I really think that the more companies, especially in any sector, especially for Web3 and aviation, I really believe Lufthansa coming in, it really helps us also. Because before that, we were like the crazy people. Hey, what they're doing? What is Web3, right? And now, because now there's going to be a World Aviation Forum in Amsterdam, and now if last year there was, I don't know, 5 of us who were speaking about this kind of things, then this year there's going to be 20 plus of us. So we see that the aviation companies and hospitality companies are coming in. We have blockchains for travel industry only. So we have companies like Flybondi, who's an Australian one. They're doing NFT tickets on a secondary market. So you have so many opportunities which you could be doing. And the really cool thing is that I really believe that if we go to some way of tokenized programs or those are benefits or whatever is going to be the things, I really believe it's going to be a lot easier to integrate the benefits to work with these companies. Because we could, let's say, if we own an NFT, and probably if you know how it works, it's an entry in a database. So essentially we could just share our group of people, let's say it's the same loyalty program. We could share it to anyone who has these kind of benefits, let's say NFT Factory in Paris. So we could share this information and then they could just token gate the access for these people, which would be so much easier than implementing some kind of new applications, whatever is the thing, to come and then register and do all of this stuff. So if both of the sides are in there, you could very easily create really cool partnerships. But there's many benefits. You can have resellable tickets where you earn as a company on a secondary market. You can have better loyalty programs, which we are doing now, and then a few others are joining us. So you can, I wouldn't say fix, but you could improve supply chain, let's say, struggles on some of the things. So, but I really believe there's going to be something completely different for aviation. And one of the key things also that I really believe, aviation, especially aviation and hospitality, will become interesting again. And what I mean by this is that sometimes you quite don't feel that you get these benefits out of whatever you're doing.
Well, and yeah, that is what's one of the reasons that I like this program is that idea, because I do like 80 conferences a year, and when I can, I put myself in Air France because I live in Paris, and a lot of times it's the conference that takes care of it, like you through this conference. And so I end up getting miles on airline X that are just useless. I'm never going to have enough to use those for something. So they actually, in the world of rewards and loyalty programs, that actually creates a negative effect. It costs them a lot of money to give me those miles and run that program, but in reality, now I have a negative experience because I have miles on, I don't know, Air Austria or something, which, fine, great airline, happy to fly on it, except I never do. So it does me no good to have those miles. The ability for those to be a tradable asset, to be something that I can go with. You might think that brands don't want you to use the points that they give you because that costs them something. It already costs them something to give them to you. So what they're waiting on is to have you be excited and happy about that and to get benefit from it, because that increases the kind of the NPS, net promoter score, or whatever, how you're ever measuring that happiness with it. So I think that's really, it is great to see other airlines playing in the space and getting in it, because as we move into digital identity, where you've got that wallet in your pocket that has all of your physical real world things like your ID and your money and your payment cards and your pictures of your dog or whatever, so your collectibles, all those things that you have, your rewards cards, maybe that salad place you go to that every week or whatever, all those things that are in your regular wallet. Well, we're all going to have digital wallets as we move forward, where once we have more and more of these things. In this room, we probably all mostly have lots of things in our wallets. A lot of people only have one thing, that one thing that they're working with. It's, maybe it's the only thing they have is their airBaltic Planie. But the point is as we move forward, they'll also then have other things show up, whether it's ID, whether it's a diploma, whether it's another rewards program, some digital collectibles that they have, whatever that, that proof of ownership of some particular product they've bought or whatever. Once they have more things in there, then they use it even more. And so we want other airlines to be all over this. We want all other brands to be in this, because then you start to do fun things. Again, you're at a conference, so you might have already done this, but your ticket to this is an NFT, and that ticket, I don't know exactly this year which ones it works for, but general between the conferences, that ticket, that NFT will get you a discount for like non-fungible conference in Lisbon or NFT Biarritz in France or things, because they can also see what's in your wallet. So when you connect to their website, they can go, oh, you've got an NFT that interests us, we can give you a benefit. So whatever my project or company is, I can look at someone's wallet and go, you've got a Planies, let me give you some benefit. So that's the other thing that's really interesting about rewards and loyalty. Other people can give you benefits for other things in your wallet, not just theirs. You can go into the Nike store and get benefits in the Nike store because you have Nike NFTs in your wallet. But you can also go next door to the New Balance store, and they could go, oh, you've got a Nike NFT. Let's give you something of value today so that you become a New Balance customer. So rewards and loyalty can also be something that really spreads out. I think that's a really valuable thing as this scales.
The only thing I'll probably add on this is, for all of this to happen, and I'm really big believer that it will, we have still one very big issue in Web3, which is that, yes, we do believe all of the wallets and we use them every single day, but let's be honest, how many of our friends and family really understands what we're doing, like how to set up the wallets and everything else? So for that really to come in hand, we need to work a little bit more on the technical side, so airBaltic could actually implement some of the things, or any other companies could come in and just plug and play, let's say, put it so simple. So we could actually start creating all of these incentives, everyone else could start doing that, and only then we will be able to actually reach this kind of level. Because yes, it works even today. We have partnerships with different kind of brands, right? Especially in fashion. But if we want to bring the next, I don't know, million users, because for us as a company, we need to bring our users on so we could make the revenue, right? So this is a business. And we need to make sure the technology is very easy to use. Because even now, the people who even today put their hands up that you're a Planies holder, believe me, you are very, very techie. Like, hats off. If I would have a hat, I would take it off because it is hard. But here's the question.
And that's why it comes with that scale. As more people have programs, more people figure this out. Plus, we also get more multi-chain wallets that have better UX that make it easy so people don't even have to know this works. But
yeah, exactly. But I really believe there's two ways how you can onboard the people onto this. Either the value proposition is over the moon. That's why you go through all of the struggles that you have if you purchase something through crypto wallet and then make connections and then you want to show it to someone. Or it's very easy to use. So currently, I would say we're going the way it's a very valuable asset to have. But we could be going, and we want to be going, and we're going to try to make it as simple as possible, where a person won't even know that he's using Web3. Because, I mean, that's the only way how we could do it, because there's a lot of people don't interest on a lot of things. Like, I'm not interested in cars, right? But there's people who's having a conference about cars and talking about it, so.
I repeat a phrase often in a lot of these things, and that is, I hear from a lot of people at these conferences that we need to onboard people into Web3. And if you believe that, that's BS, because what we need to do is onboard Web3 into more people. meaning that people need to be able to use this stuff without knowing that it exists. It's how all technology scales. You don't actually know how Amazon works or how Instagram works, how Uber works. You just know it does. You pull out your phone, you do the thing, and it does what you need it to do. You don't have to know how all the technology works behind the scenes or how all that stuff happens to work. And I think that's really important in this, is that we get to a point where, it's like your Gmail account. You sign into websites with it. You get emails. It works as kind of an identity for you. It collects all that stuff. It basically got an email and a password. And it does that kind of digital wallet-y thing. Well, we need a better version of that, but it can't be, I have my secret recovery phrases and I have my, all that kind of stuff. Yes, that's important, but it has to be much easier for the rest of the world to go through this. We've got a little bit over 2 minutes left. Do we have a quick question, or maybe two very quick ones to ask? Yes, please, Jennifer. So I will. So the question was, do influencers who've posted great photos of Planies on their accounts get a discount on a Planie?
I'll answer it like this.
And he's a very good karaoke singer was the last part. Well, I love comments too. That's appreciated. Thank you.
So on the Planie side, so essentially the tiny baby Planie that we have in our booth, you have a really great opportunity to come down and fly your tiny jet, let's say private jet, for a few minutes. But essentially, there is a way how you can share the photos in the X and of course follow, tag us, but all of the information is there. But essentially, whoever does it, you'll have an opportunity to participate in a raffle where we're going to be raffling out round trip to any of our destinations in economy class. So you could go from Tallinn's very nice weather that we're having today to Dubai. Okay, Dubai had a little bit worse of weather a few days ago, but you could probably go to Tenerife.
I think God is smiting the NFT crypto people, because I was in New York for NFT NYC and we had a freaking earthquake, and then Dubai floods, and now we have Christmas in April in Tallinn. So next week I'm expecting locusts back in Paris, I think is what's going to happen. But it's been a fun thing. Do we have another quick question? Anyone? Okay, Sanders coming. He's got a question, then we'll get to you here.
Yeah, didn't you consider issuing tickets, NFTs, like subscriptions for frequent flyers?
Yeah, I can say it like this. So we're looking into what we could do with the flight tickets. So that's a thing that we're looking. It's still a question. I can't say if we're going to go Web3 way or Web2 way, because there's also solutions in Web2 world that could be a resellable tickets as not just an NFTs. So today it's a bit hard to say, but I really believe there could be a business model for subscription type loyalty programs, or even in future. Let's just imagine, in my thoughts now, in next 1, 2, 3 years, I believe there could be a market for your loyalty cards. And what I mean is not just the secondary market. What I mean, wouldn't that be cool if I would have a loyalty card, I don't know, VIP status, and I'm not going to use it for 1 month, but I really don't want to sell it to someone? How about I rent it to someone for that whole month? Maybe there could be a possibility like this. It's a thing I'm just brainstorming right now, but I really believe this technology opens so many possibilities. But we should not be creating things just because of, hey, let's do a campaign or whatever else. Then it doesn't make any sense, because people then going to be, the customer is going to be on the losing side, right? So we need to make sure that it really has a strong business case, it's profitable, and it really works out for the customers.
That's awesome. I think we have one quick question that's left here, Sander, and then, because we're almost out of time, so I don't want to, do we have one more question?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, why did you decide to build on Ethereum chain over all other blockchains?
Yeah, so...
A question.
Yeah, this question always comes up when we have high gas and the Ethereum price is very high. But essentially, when we were creating it, so we had only 2 options, if I'm honest. Like it's either Ethereum or you look at Solana. But Solana, sadly, at 2022, had already a lot of issues on breaking down and not working correctly. But the biggest difference was that Ethereum, it was always the let's say the mother of the NFTs, and there was the biggest part of the holders, blue gems. So essentially, the highest collections, the collections that are most valuable, they were on Ethereum. And for us, we just went that kind of way. And Ethereum, it supports a lot more things, in my opinion. It's the tech is a little bit in front on, let's say, Web2 side, because yes, Solana is cheaper. Yes, you have more devs now, and they're also in creating cool things. But at one point, there's going to be, cross-chain, and you can just use the stuff all over.
I think the important part of that is that, we also have to think about going back to 2020, 21, when they're starting to build this thing and it launches in 2022. Ethereum was your only choice if you're looking for, because at that point, even people who were in crypto weren't doing things on other chains necessarily, most of them. So I think that that's part of that. Now it's different because we were like, oh, it's fine, I'll mint on whatever. And we also start to have lots more multi-chain wallets or tools that make that easier to track all these things. That's how this evolves. I would say though, and just as the closing point of that conversation, we always have these kind of points brought up when it comes to technology when we're early in, but 80% of the web is still built with practically the same technologies we built to make websites in 2000 and 2005. We have much better technologies to make things, but we're still using PHP and JavaScript and CSS to do most of the stuff, even if we're doing some stuff behind the scenes. So sometimes the better technologies don't always make the newest things, but early adopters have to make choices. And you've built something really cool on top of that. So I think that's great. Again, make sure you go check out the Planies booth. Grab yourself a selfie in the little Planie, or with Arturs, or both. And yeah, well, make sure you go and try win some stuff from them. Thank you so much for your time. Please give our wonderful rockstar guest a round of applause. And I'm going to take the selfie because Elon needs to know about Planies. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arturs. Thank you, Ethan. When are we going to be able to drive around in this motorized plane?
Well, that's the next alpha. Hopefully we can pull that off. But if you're going to see the tiny plane, the idea is to put on wheels and a motor and drive around the events. Maybe, hopefully, one day that can happen.